Glenna Anderson, LCSW, and I'm so glad that you stopped by. I have this crazy idea. Let's make everyone a millionaire. Insane, right? So here's my thinking. When I was a kid, I was pretty selective about who I was friends with. As a matter of fact, even as an adult, I'm still pretty selective about who I'm friends with. In preschool, I loved my best friend Sharon, who we're actually still best friends to this day. But outside of her, I can't say that I was the friendliest kid in the sandbox. Well, one day, my mother had to come to my preschool to meet with the teacher because of my lack of sandbox etiquette. During the meeting, the full story came out. I was repeatedly getting in trouble for being mean to the other kids. And in actuality, I would be playing by myself, and another kid would come up and either try to force themselves into my play or take something that I was playing with. When I didn't allow either of these scenarios to play out the way they envisioned it, they cried and they told the teacher, "Gonna see me." Well, in the course of the meeting, my mother was able to see through things, and she pointed out that I was playing peacefully by myself. And the only time the problem came up is when I didn't allow others to interrupt me. She even praised me for not initiating fights, and she also praised me for standing up for myself. And eventually, the teacher went from sending me to the corner to learning to pay more attention to when other kids were actually targeting me. Thanks, Mom. My mother figured out two things very early. Number one, learn your children. Number two, affirm your children. My mother knew that I was not the type of child to start a fight, but I was far from a pushover. And she recognized my strength and my ability to stand up for myself. But she still set boundaries by making it clear it was not okay to hit other kids in the sandbox. She affirmed me by praising me both publicly and privately. So the experience of being targeted by my classmates and punished by teachers never seeped into my self esteem, never seeped into my confidence. Over the years, she made it a regular practice to affirm both me and my sister. She would tell us we were smart, creative, anointed, pretty, funny, talented. And in conversations with other people, even when she was telling them about one of our latest antics, she would always finish it off with, "But I have to say, I have good kids." And she would complete it with concrete examples of things that we had done, like getting good grades or competing in a dance competition, just to really let us know. And she meant it when she said she had good kids. She set the standard for higher education by returning to school when I was in the second grade. She started at a junior college, and 10 years later, she completed her bachelor's degree. Yeah, 10 years later, completed her bachelor's degree. 3 years after that, she completed her master's. There was a point actually where my sister, my mom, and myself, all three of us were in school at the same time. You see, my mom created a college going culture in our home. In the morning, it was eat your cereal. What college are you going to? She gave me the impression that I had permission and the capability to do anything. Now, we grew up in Long Beach, California. Not super privileged. In Long Beach, about 60% of people there have a high school diploma or higher, and about 6.4% have a bachelor's or higher. And the median income for the households in Long Beach are right around $53,000, with about 26.7% in poverty. In Watts, well, up the freeway a little bit, 41.9% have a high school diploma or higher. 4% have a bachelor's degree or higher. 33.4% are in poverty, and the median income is right around $34,000 a year. Go a little bit farther up the freeway to Beverly Hills. 94.7% of the people in Beverly Hills have a high school diploma or higher. 60.1% have a bachelor's degree or higher. And the median income, $87,000. 9.9% are in poverty. The distance between Watts and Beverly Hills, 22 miles. 22. Isolation is a really big issue. Social isolation is a really big issue. It's actually lethal. It's killing people, believe it or not. And people in urban, lower socioeconomic neighborhoods are suffering from social isolation. And I don't mean the type where grandpa dies and someone needs to get grandma to the local nursing home for bingo night so she can have someone to hang out with. I'm talking about proximity isolation, being geographically distant from people, being separated. It makes it difficult to glean knowledge or be exposed to the same tips and the same information. I mean, think about it. If you sit all the A students on one side of the classroom and all the B students on the other side of the classroom, how can the B students learn what the A students are doing to be successful? This separation, I mean, it just impairs our ability to make meaningful relationships because we're just in different places. Perceived isolation, the belief that a person does not have any meaningful or real supportive relationships. So this means you could have 20 people around you, but the belief that they are not relationships of any value or where you could actually turn to someone means you're suffering from perceived isolation. This, in and of itself, it makes people feel like the world is not safe. It increases the stress hormones, and it changes your thought process to be automatically negative. So having a perception that you don't have any meaningful relationships, it means that you look at the world like it's a gloomy place where there's no support. People in lower socioeconomic areas, they're left to their own filter of the world. Their access to information has been severely hampered. Their networks are limited, and their beliefs about the world are shaped into automatic negative responses. This is a recipe for generations of poverty. So when we're talking about social isolation, we're talking about things like a high concentration of people living in Beverly Hills, which I just use that as a random example. High concentration of people living in Beverly Hills that have high school diplomas, higher education, and higher income, which means they can talk to one another about how to stay in school, how to go from a high school into a major university, and how to complete a bachelor's, a master's, or beyond. And then they have each other to talk to say, hey, I make this much at my job. You should look for a job that looks for something about the same. And then we go into areas where very few people have higher education, very few people have high paying jobs, if any. And there's a very limited network pool, very poor information sharing. And again, guys, we're talking 22 miles. 22 miles. And we have a limited network and limited information sharing. So what's my idea? We got to create a culture of millionaires. We've got to create a culture of millionaires. We have to create a mindset in people that they have permission and the capability to do anything. We have to create a paradigm where everyone is expected to do exceptionally well. And we have to move away from the idea of making enough money to pay bills on time and survive. We have to reach all people, not just the ones that are fortunate enough to have access to the information. We have to make access actually be accessible. The same secrets the people in Beverly Hills have are the same ones that the people in Washington have. So the same information that the people in Beverly Hills have about finishing high school and meeting A through G requirements for CSU and UC campuses so that they are easily able to apply for these universities, we have to make sure that Watts has the same information And I don't mean do they know what the agency requirements are. I mean, are they getting the same education? Are they getting the same knowledge base to make them competitive enough to be able to get into the university? We have to teach the secrets. And I don't mean just posting videos on YouTube or building it into a high priced MBA program, but I mean actually teach people how to create and sustain profitable businesses. Teach all children how to seek out funding for education. Link the A students with the C students so they can tell their secrets to good grades. Some kids just get it. They just have this innate work ethic and others don't. So link the A students with the C students and help them to teach their work ethic. Make this common practice and not a special privilege for special people. We have to instill belongingness and inclusion. We're not looking for charitable donations either. We're not looking for people just to kind of go into the hood on Thanksgiving and Christmas. We're looking to erase the barrier between the have and the have not through instilling the feeling that we are all the same people. We are looking for a cultural shift where people stop thinking about their immediate friends and family and actually make an effort to make sure all people are included in the good life. Your delicious food will still be delicious if you tell someone about it. Stop looking for ways to alienate and exclude people who don't look like you and search for ways to include them in your world. This even goes for people who have made money and they have moved out of a bad area and into a better area. That's great. And I'm an advocate of that. But every time you do that, you leave all of those people who haven't done it to fend for themselves. And it becomes a more concentrated population of people who don't have the body of knowledge that you have. And they no longer have access to you because you have left that neighborhood. So this is what I mean when I say I want us to create a culture for the haves that were able to move out and the have-nots that are still living in that neighborhood, still trying to figure out how to move out of that neighborhood. I want us to make affirming others the standard in the home and in our schools. Affirm children in poor neighborhoods. Create a mindset that they have permission and the capability to do anything. We want to remove that mental ceiling by teaching them how to get admitted and fund their education. So rather than just say, you got to go to college, you got to go to college, we want to actually give them the information to make it more accessible. We want to teach them how to access and fund specialty programs, music lessons, specialty sports, training, teaching job readiness, exposure to various employment opportunities with an explanation of how to parlay a job into a career. So we want to do more than just go out and kind of shoot hoops. That's great. That's great. But we want to do things like create specialized camps that will enhance their skills. It can be in sports, it can be in music, it can be in art. But we want to enhance their skills and we want to enrich our youth so that they are better prepared to compete with the rest of the world. And we want to talk to them about the difference between a job and a career and how to make an entry level job turn into a career that can actually provide for you and your family. I want to create personal development programs and build them into our school system so that when our kids graduate, they are already aware of their natural strengths and their natural abilities. This will help them better predict the trajectory of their futures. Starting with our children, would flood our country with people who have an open mind and will pass this new frame of thought on to their children. So we want to catch and release. We want to start very early with changing the mindset of our children, and then we want to bring them through the educational system and release them back into the community so that they will be better equipped to change the mindsets of everyone who comes behind them. We also want to offer personal development courses for adults. GED courses are great. It's a great start. but only if they come with a 5 year plan. We need something to teach people how to better map out their life. So you got your GED. Well, what's next? And to learn to be patient with the process. We need something to teach people how to better navigate this. I mean, we're talking about people who have spent their entire life with the belief that only those people have nice things. A character earned from my favorite television show, Atlanta, he made a statement. He says, I don't have time for investment. Poor people don't get time because they're too busy trying not to be poor. So I understand the mindset where it's like, listen, I need it today. But we want to teach people the benefit of saying, you know what, if you go this route, it's actually going to take care of you in the long run. You have to give them the arena where they can be educated. And you have to give them permission to dream beyond what they believe is actually within their reach. And then you have to give them a concrete strategic plan that they can actually follow. When my mother started school, she sat down with a counselor and she knew exactly what courses she was going to take and how long the process was going to be. But she knew that it was going to be over a 10-year journey. But she could see the light at the end of the tunnel, even if it was 10 years away. When I was a senior in high school and I decided I wanted to be a social worker, I knew that it was going to be this amount in a bachelor's, this amount in a master's, this amount to get licensed. But I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I appreciated what I was doing, and I was patient in the process. So what's my crazy idea? I want to make everyone a millionaire. And how do I want to do it? I want to equip everyone with the skills that they need on the inside so that they are better equipped to reach out for it on the outside. I want to create a culture of people who believe in themselves and who believe in helping others. And I want you to join me. Thank you.